Adversity, bring it. The struggle, we welcome it. Snooze on life, never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 138. As always, I'm in the booth with the big three, Michael, the show Pirelli, Claudio, the voice, Valenzuela, and I am Dave, the body, Regina, dressed in all black today.
Death row.
Because I am about to murder this ish.
Tough start to a podcast. It's a tough start.
Oh, man, Michael, how the hell are you, my brother?
I'm good. I every time, I hate to say it, we have a monitor here because CV has this unbelievable rig.
Yep.
I look like a 1970s what do they call those people? Vampire at this tone of skin.
I know it's bad, right?
It's real bad.
I
You
know.
look decent, like usual.
Well, I mean, I hit the tanning bed
I think
that
it's our
time.
dark features, like dark eyebrows, dark hair, make everything look bad.
Yeah, and we just look white, right?
Yeah.
I know.
But other than that, I'm doing well. Other than looking half dead, I feel pretty good.
Thriving, baby.
I've actually been sleeping pretty good.
Okay, don't
I
jinx
feel like a
it.
different person. Don't
Knock,
jinx
knock.
it. We had I'll call it a hat trick of good sleep.
Ooh.
I feel like a new person. Unbelievable. A little pep in this step.
Wow.
This is my only first coffee of the day.
Okay.
Unbelievable. I feel great. What
That's
about
good. Yeah, you know, I got I feel good today, but I had some rough news at the beginning of the week.
you? Can we start a podcast without any negative news?
CV,
is it too much to ask that Dave doesn't bring down the mood here for a podcast?
Well, it's reality, right? It's life. So, you know, things go on, and, you know, so somebody who's extremely, extremely close to me. I mean, you can't be any closer than my buddy Chance. Chance Reg.
Jesus.
Yeah, Chance Reg.
Tell me that.
He will be 13 this year, and he's tattooed on my chest. I've had him since he was 5 weeks old. I bring him to the vet because I knew he hasn't been the best. You know?
He hasn't been good for a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, but for his legs and stuff were messed up, right?
Yeah.
Which,
Is that just like a pit bull thing, or
no? So they had mentioned that he like basically tore an equivalent of what the ACL would be.
yeah?
But to repair it was like 10 grand and only a 50% chance of full recovery. So I'm like, well, sorry, bud. Like, you know, put him on medication. We'll keep him as comfortable as possible. This was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So he's been slow ever since, but he's kicking around.
lively.
He moves good.
Yeah.
He's reactive to stuff. But in the middle of the night, he's been kind of like, not panting, but kind of like, you know, when you roll over and you're trying to get comfortable, you're like,
Like groaning.
Yeah, like that. So I wanted to bring him, and you know what came back was your liver enzymes for the dog is supposed to be between 20 and 200, and he's at 2,000. So basically, I said to the vet, I'm like, well, what happened? Every time I take a drink, it goes to his liver. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? But he's been on prednisone for the past 5 years because of the other issues that are going on, and prednisone is very hard on the liver. So there's definitely, you know, a level of uncomfortability for him that's there. And he basically told me, you know, he does not have too much longer to live.
Oh, Jesus.
And he said, unfortunately, he's not going to have like a heart attack, and he's not going to just like, he doesn't believe
It's gonna
because
be
every
an
other
instant.
every other organ is healthy.
Mm.
So he doesn't believe that he's just going to, you know, peacefully go one day. So he's like, you're going to have to make the decision
Oh my God.
of when to bring him in. And I was like, wow. And I was crushed, you know, but I also did a lot of mental prep work before because you know your dog, you know, and I told myself, listen, if he's at this level now, I can sustain this for however long he can go. But if he takes like, you know, another step or two in that decline direction, then I have to do what's right.
Yeah, and humane, obviously, right? Because
Of
it's gonna be hard
course.
for you, but then also it's like they're suffering so much.
Yeah, and it's tough bringing, you know, I am dreading bringing him in.
Oh,
So I actually Googled a couple companies, and it's called
Like Ubers.
Pause at Peace.
They
No,
pick
not-
him up?
Not an Uber, bro.
Dude, you
No.
better bring him in.
No.
If you just send someone
No.
to pick him up to bring him,
No.
It's like, all right,
No.
bud.
It's the opposite of that. It's called like Pause at Peace, where they actually come to your home in their space. And
Oh,
you know,
that's nice.
They put the dog down in
So you
a,
don't
in a
have to,
peaceful way.
yeah.
Put the dog to sleep first, and then obviously you
Yeah.
know put him out. But it's horrible stuff. Like, and then knowing we all know eventually we're gonna go right. But if a doctor told you tomorrow that you either had this is pretty much what he told me. It could be 2 days, 2 months, or 2 years. I'm like, oh, that's a rough. He's like, I know. He's like, I can't tell you when. You know, it's just gonna be.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is really out of control. So he's been okay. You know, since that appointment, it was funny. He actually came home. I actually sent the video to Claudio. He came home from the doctor, and he has a girlfriend right next door, little 1-year-old. She is a mix, but she's crazy. So basically, their relationship is they make out through the fence. Right, literally. She runs around crazy, jumps all over the place, and Chance just sits there and watches her.
Sounds like my childhood relationship.
Exactly.
Making out with people through fences.
Making out with old ladies through the fences. Because that's what he's doing. But he's making out with the younger lady.
Yeah. I was like,
so he's the man. But so it was nice to see, but I basically drew up a story in my head that he like came and he like kind of reported to her like, you know, this is what's going on, and then they started making out, and you know, then he was walking away all like sad and was like, you know, we don't have much longer, and it was a whole movie I made up in my head. But you know, I also have to protect Callie too, because you know, she loves Chi Boy, and he's a huge.
Is that what she calls him?
Chi Boy, yeah. And I don't know where that started because she knows how to say Chance now, but she couldn't at first, so she would call him Chi. Cheese.
That's great.
So now it's Chi Boy. That's what she calls him. But she throws the dolls at him. She sits down with him, and he's very patient with her. He yanks her tail. So I got to keep that level, but I never want to put him in any uncomfortable space. So I don't know. You know, that's the update. I don't really have
tugging at the heartstrings here.
Yeah, I know. The dog is like worse than people, right?
It's tough. I find myself thinking about it more often now, even though Petey's like 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We forgot his birthday this year because we've been under it, but great. He's a little, he's a little on the obese side for a dog, so he might have a shorter lifespan.
Oh, that pizza,
love him to death. But part of me is like, you know what? He could be perfectly lean and live 15 years, but if he has a good run and he eats like an animal, he's probably happier. So me and my boy Pete, holding strong.
Yes.
But the brother Chris tells a story all the time about how Dana couldn't bring Coco to get put down, their childhood dog.
Yep.
And how he was the one holding Coco's hand and just like making jokes through the whole thing to make everyone calm, you know? But yeah, it's tough stuff. I found, I don't know if you feel this way, becoming a parent, I've become more emotional about everything.
Yes.
When you tell stories like that,
yes,
I then jump to not only the dog, but the kids, my mortality, thinking about when I'm going to go. Hopefully I go before everyone else goes, that type of stuff.
Yeah, you become more...
Who do you think's going to live longer, me or you? This is a fun game to play. If you ask people, you can really figure out if they like you or not.
I think
if they hit you with the "I'm definitely living longer," it means they hate you.
Put this in the book, CV. I think I got Mike by 4 years.
You know what? I think you're big. You're a big boy. You lift heavy. I think you're going to use too many miles too early, and I'm just walking my way past you. But you know what? If I do have to put you down, I'm happy to do so.
All right, good.
All right?
Just keep it a nice, humane way. I've seen some
I'm gonna
terrible
just keep
videos.
Putting protein in your mouth till you overflow.
I see these kids. They lift, this heavy weight, and then the bar falls on them, and then the weight is clamped, and the barbell chokes them out. It's crazy stuff. I hope I don't go like that.
Could happen.
But by the way, if you saw the Insta story today, I mean, I'm caking 275 on close grip, 315 close grip. I mean, light stuff. You wouldn't know these numbers, but
fake weights.
Fake weights.
I gotta call Level and be like, "Where'd you get your fake weights?"
Davey fake weights and Mikey Munchkins.
Mikey Munchkins. Good form though.
Right. Listen. Wait, can we go to CV?
Do you have anything else morbid you want to share?
No. We're going happy.
No, Shadow Chance, one of my favorites. Fun fact, one party at your house, a lot of good parties. I'm like, where the hell Dana go? I'm like, where's Dana? Where is Dana? I go into the other room. She is asleep in bed with Chance, like laying on top of the poor dog. So Shadow Chance would be my wingman for a long time.
Final story on that. So brother Chris, right? Funny dude. This was when Dana and I were living together, right?
Yeah,
it was Dana, Karina, and I. Not just Dana and I. You know what I meant.
It's all
right. So we're in our room, and Chris is Dana's brother. I don't believe she was there, so Chris just stayed in the house. He's like, "Oh, I'm in the city. White Plains is close. You mind if I crash? Whatever." So he's watching a show, and he said Chance got in bed with him and started licking his face, and he's like, "Well." He didn't stop licking my face. So he said then it was like kind of a long time. He said, so I'm going to see how long he's going to lick my face. And Chris reported something absurd. I think it was like 40 minutes of Chance just sitting there licking his entire face.
He did the same thing with Petey. 100%. I told you that story. I went off to work, came back, same position, Petey still licking him.
Yeah, it's very funny, man. But good stories like that. But Chance right now, unbelievably, has been with me in every single place that I've lived, on our own. The first apartment in White Plains.
Yeah.
This is very Dave Regina-esque. I don't know if you've heard this. So it was an apartment complex that said you can't have dogs. So I got a pit bull, and I tried to hide them for as long as possible.
How do you hide a pit bull?
They kicked me out. So then we moved. So then we moved back to Stanford.
Yeah.
Chance came with us there.
Yeah.
Then moved back to White Plains. Chance was there.
Well,
then I had the house in Hastings.
dumb question. Where would Chance go? Isn't he your dog?
No, but I'm saying the
See,
for
am I
no
an
no
idiot
no
for
no
asking
no.
that question?
But for me as an adult, my point is I've moved around so much.
Got it.
And when I look at the amount of years he's been with me in every adult phase of my life.
Got it.
So then we had the house in Hastings and then the house in Mohegan. He's been to every single place that I've ever moved.
I know. I was just thinking
You know?
how funny is if you're like, yeah, we went to Stanford. Chance stayed in White Plains. He thought it was his spot.
Yeah, exactly. No, I get what you're saying. But yeah, man, sad stuff. But I am, I'm okay. Everybody's kind of, they were worried about me. But I have been just embracing moments with him, kind of laying there, making him a little extra, more comfortable. I have been giving him steak. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really do that in the past. And now I'm like,
F it. Absolutely. I believe in that 100%.
And I
Give him
put
the good
Cheerios.
stuff.
I put Cheerios in his bowl.
Has
every
my man
day
ever
now.
had truffles?
No.
Maybe give him a little truffle. See
Chocolate
what
kills
happens.
dogs, Mike.
Truffles. Truffles not chocolate.
No?
You're thinking of
Chocolate truffles. Oh, okay.
But truffles is like
What is truffles?
it's like a type of
Is that
mushroom
verbatim?
type thing.
I tell the story. Go
Oh yeah. Before we get into it, Dave is a good public speaker. He's very articulate. He's a smart dude. Sometimes he'll use words and speak so confidently and use them incorrectly. So, for example, he said verbatim upstairs.
Yeah.
And me and CV started laughing immediately. And I'm like, if no one notices this stuff, they would just let it slide. And then we were talking to Dave that it's verbatim. And he's like, oh, whatever. And he's like, tomato. And that's how he skated over it.
100% though.
It's
no?
two different letters, though. It's
Yeah,
not like
but
it's not like verbatim versus verbatim. Like
Oh, okay,
that's
okay.
tomato when you change the
Gotcha.
inflection.
So verbatim.
Like if you
it's
said
kind-
verbatim,
Verbatim,
that's tomato.
it's kind of the same thing. I
But
don't
that was that follow up was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Is when you make a mistake, just go tomato, and then just go to the next thing.
know. But I was so confident in
It's
it
so
because I mean the way that I used it was correct, but then
Yes.
I was like, what's wrong? And
Yeah.
they're like, that is not how you say it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, verbatim. And they're like, no, it's verbatim. And I'm like, wait, but I think I would spell it
And
properly.
verbatim's like a word that you use when you do have a little of a vocabulary. So it's even funnier that you used it correctly with the wrong, But my vocab's awful, so I give you credit.
Listen, the big articulation is the new nickname.
The big articulate.
Oh man! All right, so this is now before we get into we're going to talk about questies. We're going to answer some questies that came in.
That means questions, by
Yes,
the way. If
questies.
you've gotten this far into our
Right.
trajectory and you don't know the slang, then
Right.
leave.
But we're going to give you another dose of real life. So Claudio, the voice Valenzuela, with the hand motions here.
Yeah,
My
get
hands
him.
moving like Hormosa.
The hibachi chef. Tomato.
He we kind of put him on the spot last week, and then he embraced it and said, I'm going to come with an update. And
Big text over the
he
weekend.
sent us a text message where
What day was that?
It was last Friday.
Was it last Friday?
Yeah, he was rather hyped in the text message,
a
saying
Friday.
and I could tell because this is what happens to me. As soon as you finish that workout, you're
Ooh,
pumped.
Endorphins.
Right. Everything is kicking. You're creative. You're going. You're moving. And you feel good. You feel accomplished.
Yep.
So he's like, yo, guys, listen, I'm reporting, some bad news. I gained a couple LBs over the week, but I'm back and I am reporting, when we record next week. So we left it at that.
Oh, he
and
did
then
say that.
what?
He did say that.
He did.
Yeah,
But he said
you're
he
right.
did say that it was, it's not like he was like, I lost weight. He
No,
was
no,
just
no.
like, listen, I
Yep.
gained a couple LBs, but your boy is
It
back.
was a positive
I'm
spin
getting
for
correct.
sure.
Correct. Absolutely. So
Sorry to interrupt.
we want to check in with Claudio, the voice, Valenzuela. Talk to us, CV.
My favorite member of No Sues, by the way. No offense.
All right, so I'm gonna rip off the Band-Aid quick because this is it's hurting. So there was a 20-pound gain from, I guess, the lowest that I had gotten to. So,
Which is how long? Over how long?
It was December. I
Are
think.
you talking 20 LBs
It was before
in 20 days? Or are you
No,
talking,
no, no,
you
no,
know?
no.
Tomato.
It was before the holidays. I think the last time I weighed myself was like somewhere early December, and then obviously
Okay,
all
so
the
we went
holidays
down
passed.
60. We gained 20, so now we're down
55. Stop making it so big.
Oh, okay,
55.
Round up.
Okay.
You can round up.
Yeah.
For the
No.
positive
100
stuff, you round up.
So
For
if
the
it
negative
was
stuff, you round
55,
down.
technically it's 100.
In this case, it doesn't apply that well.
Okay, so you were up 55. I mean, you down
Down
55,
55.
gained 20 till
Yeah.
basically last week.
This is last week.
Math.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you were at a total of 35 pounds lost.
35, yeah.
So we asked you after your excitement. back
so
to us.
hold on.
Yeah,
So-
you initiated this.
I knew. Okay. So I knew that I wanted to text you guys with an update just so you guys would know. When I saw it, it hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. However, the reason I wanted to also text the running or the walking portion and that stuff was because we had just had the conversation about how 4.0 and the 4.5, and it was almost like it was questioned that I'm not doing it that fast. So I just took a couple pictures.
You're
of the
flying.
4.5, and I think I even went up a little higher, which I
It was
think
like 4.8.
up until that.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I think I made it to 5. I didn't take a picture of that one.
I don't know how that's
And that was just
You would
walking.
fall off.
And it was only like, no, I mean, you look like those weird people that walk really fast.
Yes, yeah.
like
All
that.
right, listen. You don't have to do this publicly. Can you send us a video of you walking? Because
Oh,
I want to see the pace. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so curious.
No, it's
now.
fast. It's
Mike
fast.
walks on 1.0, CD. You know,
Dude. I take videos and I'm like,
by 1.4, he's.
I take
he's-
videos and
he
I'm
has to
like,
put the phone
man,
down.
I must be flying. And then I look and it looks like I'm confused as I'm lost like, on my treadmill.
Are you able to text when you're walking?
Yeah, like I have written emails and stuff.
Yeah, I write an email. He said
4.8. You're like, blah, 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 blah.
I can't even. I can't touch anything.
Okay,
I'm
so you're
moving so
flying.
fast.
Yeah,
I can't touch anything.
okay.
I usually put the phone down. And I just go. So I wanted to show because I wanted to show that at the very least the working out has been fairly consistent.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to walk at that pace
Right.
and hold it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I wanted to show that at least as a
progress.
something
100%.
positive. The eating has been the other part. So I was all excited. So I sent the text. I was not excited about the 20 pounds, but I was excited to show you guys that there was at least progress in the walking. So it's not just I'm not doing 1.0 or 1.4.
Yeah, take
It's
it
a little,
easy.
a little bit faster
Hey.
than that. So I was kind of okay. So that was then. So yeah, in my mind I was like, okay, I gotta buckle down. I gotta do the right thing. We gotta go.
Short season around the corner.
Yeah. Well, this week has been a struggle of a week
Okay.
because that very same weekend, my sister-in-law came into town from North Carolina,
God damn it.
and it was her birthday weekend, and
nice.
every single
Sweet.
instance that we had, there was eating deliciousness and just abundance and.
An abundance.
And it was a 3-day weekend,
Mhm.
and it was extremely difficult to attempt to start anything
Yep.
new with the eating. So then I was like, all right, fine. She leaves on Monday. It's the week now.
He's like pushing her out the door.
It's the no, yeah. Well, I thought but
Take your
no.
goddamn snacks
Yeah,
with you.
take these
This
biscuits
week is a
with you,
little
baby.
different because my schedule is not the norm. It's changing for a week because we have there's a break and we have our programming is different. So I'm early at work every day now. On top of that, I have a documentary or a show, Reki, as well.
Mm.
I dove deep into this new series that I love, the Wu-Tang Clan. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
are familiar with who that is.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't, it's an awesome hip hop band back in the late 90s or something like that.
We have hip hop fans.
And they have
Yeah, absolutely.
they have a new documentary or a new series that came out. And I had heard about it some time ago, but I never really got into it. And I got into it, and I got super into it. So this week, on top of having to get up earlier, and on top of all the day things going on, I've been also like coming home, like rushing to get home because I'm not going home that early either, to watch it. And I'll watch it, I'll binge a little bit, and then we're going to bed. And we're going to bed a little bit later, waking up a little bit later, struggling every day. So it's been a struggle. The food has been a struggle. Even the working out has been a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
I haven't been consistent this week at all. I think I've worked every other day kind of. And the food, we went on trips, so when we go on trips, it's hard for me to kind of prep. So I don't prep. I just eat whatever we can find. And so it's not been good. I got to be honest. I didn't weigh myself today because I was like, F this. I'm going to start anew after this weekend because we have a couple of engagements. It's tough, man. The engagements are tough.
I
I want to be
know.
like nothing. I don't want to talk to nobody.
I know.
Let me be disciplined for at least a couple of weeks. So
The
that's it.
document,
Band-Aid off. I'm
Band-Aid
good.
off. There you
Moving
go.
on. Epi, let's go.
the Wu Tang. Have you do you ever do it on the treadmill? Like watch what you want on the treadmill? Remember I was telling you
No.
I do that?
Yeah.
So like if I get
Yeah.
into like I've been watching this show full
I've been watching
Have you
something
seen it?
else.
I just started too.
Incredible.
Did you
What
watch
show?
the one on Tony? What's his?
Soprano.
Finale?
No. Yes, Finau.
No, I didn't get
Oh,
there yet.
I started crying.
It's the next one, I think.
Oh,
Is
Good
it
luck.
tough?
He's great.
What happens?
No, he's a family man.
No one's listening.
Okay, so
What
nobody's listening.
No
So
one's
this
listening.
is the
Guys, spoiler alert.
yeah,
if you haven't watched
PGA
Full Swing, don't listen.
right. So it's basically a documentary on PGA Tour with all the
Done
top golfers.
unbelievable.
It's
Like
incredible.
the storyline telling, I love.
Right.
Because it tells you about the person,
Yes.
but then it shows you why they're so elite.
Right.
It's great.
So you're toast with this next episode. So Tony Finau is basically, he's one of the top golfers in the world, but he was always so good. I think he won 2 PGA events,
Like
but
majors?
not majors. So then it became like, oh, well, why isn't Tony winning majors, right?
Yeah.
And basically what it came down to is he's the only golfer that really was bringing his family along. He's got like 5 kids, his wife, they're from Samoa, right? So they're like very family oriented. She had lost her father during that year. So he's like, listen, I need my wife with me. But so they were slaughtering him. Like, he's so unfocused. He's got his kids on the tour. Because Tiger Woods, if you ask Tiger about his kids, he's going to be like, yeah, they're good. And just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy, right?
Yep. Yep.
Had
Look
asked
at us, golf guys.
had asked Tiger actually on tour like about his kids, and he was so excited.
He's like,
and
who?
Tiger literally looked at him and just kept walking down the fairway.
Yeah.
So Tony Finau is the complete opposite. As soon as he makes a putt or something, he looks at his kids, he high fives them, he brings them snacks while he's actually golfing.
Yeah.
So they constantly got at him for being too much of a family man and not a professional, and he turns that around. But as he's telling the story, he's crying. I mean, it's good luck to you.
There's no like.
Good luck to you.
That's.
Oh, he wins. He catches a couple dubs. He's
what it is?
Yeah, he's focused.
There's been a couple that have been tearjerkers. I'm telling you, that boxing one where he lost his daughter and he told
Yes.
his daughter he was going to be champion in the world and
Yes.
then he wins the champion. I was like,
Yeah.
it was bad. It ruined my whole morning.
Yeah. And Finau too, he's real cool because he's from Utah and they had no money, and they were watching Tiger Woods when this was obviously 20 years ago, and his dad, said, well, how can we figure out how to play golf? We got no money. So he set up a mattress, put it upright, and allowed the kids to hit into this
Swing into the
mattress.
mattress?
So they went back to the old house and they showed the garage, which still has all the golf balls.
Holes.
Yeah, and they never knew golf.
Yeah.
And now he's one of the top pros in the world.
The other crazy thing I'll mention is when you watch the documentary, it's so interesting to see that there's like 150 guys and they all say like any of them at any given point could win.
Yes.
So can you imagine playing in a basketball game and being like, depending on the day, any of these 156 guys are going to score the most points,
Yep.
which is a crazy concept because usually it's 4 or 5 guys who are the best in the world.
Right.
Versus like it changes every week who the best player is.
Did you watch the one on Joel?
Joel is the guy
No,
who lost
no.
his mom.
Yes. Lost
Yeah.
his mom.
And he's so casual.
he's super casual.
He didn't even want to play like the round to get in, and then it's amazing.
He doesn't like to train hard, right? And he's basically like, somebody's got to be the 70th best golfer in
which
the
is
world.
hilarious. That's
And
how I would be.
Exactly.
I'm like,
But his
"Ah."
caddy is like trying to be in his ear, like, yo, you could be one of the best in the world, man. Like, you
Yeah.
just got to turn it up a notch. And he was just always very nonchalant.
But he's having a kid.
Yes, he is having a kid now, so it's going to change things, and he's a little bit more motivated. But yeah, if you haven't checked that out, even if you don't know anything about golf, because they even explain some things too. They explain what a par is, a birdie is, a bogey is. So it's a good documentary.
I enjoyed it a lot. It makes me want to play golf, but it also makes you just enjoy like how good these guys
Yes, right. You know what else I watched too? Last thing, Pamela Anderson documentary.
are.
You
Pam,
did.
and what's her name?
Yeah, Pam. Tommy Lee.
Yeah, Pam and Tom. A love
Yeah.
story or something.
But
right?
no, it's just Pamela Anderson.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't
I mean,
see
they
that.
tell a story of Tommy Lee, but he's not in it.
Mm.
But it's really good.
Is it?
Really good. Highly recommend.
Gotta watch
CV, let them know where you get this protein at, and then hit us with Questy numero uno.
Bet you it's Orgain.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NOSNOOZE30. Again, that's NOSNOOZE30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the Epi.
All right. So for this week, question number 1. Let me get my notes up. What is the key to a successful morning routine? I have tried many routines, and none of them seem to stick longer than a month.
It's longer than Mike. I mean,
It's true. It's true.
you made it. What do you mean?
The key is to not have any kids.
yeah. Stay kid free.
Kid-free.
You want to start or you want me to go?
No, dive in. Dive in.
So what is basically the question is what is the key to a successful morning routine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I've actually been thinking about this a lot lately because, so many changes in your life can really alter the routines that you have in the morning. But for me, I'm most successful when I begin to think about my morning routine at night, which is a big difference
Damn, that's
because it honestly, it really is.
You took my.
I've tried many.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Guys,
verbatim.
life hack.
Yeah.
Someone has a good answer. You'd be like, "You took my.
You
answer.
took my answer. Yes,
Because
so
you
true.
see it, and then you can claim it. It's
Right.
genius.
But I feel like you can't. This is what I find. You can't wake up and react. You have to be able to plan and visualize the night before, especially when you have kids. Because I'm at the level now. This is what I do, right? I literally prep my podcast the night before that I'm going to listen to, which as soon as I wake up, I throw it in my ear. It's Joel Osteen, right? So I'm serious.
I don't mean to laugh.
No, but
it's funny how you say
that's what it is, though. My water is already in a bottle on the nightstand, so I literally get up, drink it on my way to the bathroom. My clothes for the gym are already picked out. My work bag is already prepped. My coffee is next to the Keurig. My protein is mixed in the purple thing that I keep in my gym bag, so that's already done. My lunchbox is on the counter, and I stack my lunch, everything that I'm bringing in the fridge, right in the same spot, so I just take it out. Boom. I try to do all of this while Callie's still sleeping, because if I don't and she wakes up and I'm having to do all these little motions, it's 1 minute. Even though it's 1 minute task, that completely throws you off. I pick out her clothes the night before, so those are laid out, ready to go. All her extra stuff is actually in the car when she goes to sleep for the night. I bring her bag for school. I put it in the car just to prep myself. But if I allow, and a lot of people have kids, right? I only have one kid. But if I allow the chaos of life to come to me before I do these things, I'm screwed, right? So I think it's really taking the time to plan and visualize the night before. Your routine in the morning is only going to be as successful as you are in your mind the night before. And then you allow life to happen, and once in a blue, you might forget to fill up the water bottle. Okay, no big deal, but everything else is done. You might forget to pick out your clothes, but no big deal because everything else is done.
Yeah.
You know what
You're
I mean?
moving like the friction.
Yes.
It's like
yes.
if you were going to take a path through snow.
Yep.
Every little thing you do is kind of like
Right.
doing another step there.
And my last thing, though, I feel like the goal of an actual routine, right? CV, put the camera on me. Yeah,
I'm
Somebody
doing
called
great
me.
reactions.
yeah,
over
right.
here.
Somebody called me. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
It was me.
The goal of any routine is to make your life as predictable as possible,
Yeah.
right? That's the goal of a routine. So with that goal in mind, you want to predict as many things as you possibly can, right? You're aligning things to your favor. And then when things go off the rails a little bit, you're still in a good place because you've predicted the most parts of your routine.
I have some follow-up questions.
Hold on.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Go. No, you can do
wanna go
follow-up
or you-
questions.
Yeah, because
I may lose
not
my
to say
train
you blew my mind, but it was
You
really
need to get a
good.
voice reaction that just says you go pew pew.
That was really good. So,
It was my answer, CB. Of course.
Yeah,
it was.
of course.
yes,
you,
follow-up
Dave.
questions.
Yep.
If you maybe fall off the wagon
Yep.
or a little bit, right? Or you fall off the routine of prepping, like you're kind of preparing yourself, which I think is genius. But if you fall a little bit off of it, for whatever reason, whether you got a little bit comfortable, you're still kind of doing all the motions. I think this happens to some, because the question kind of alludes to like after a month. So I can see people, anybody, just regular people, not superhumans.
You're pointing the wrong way, dude.
My bad, my
Yep.
finger was crooked.
right.
Go through a month of what you're saying and be super focused into that. But then what usually happens at the month or maybe the 2 months or however long, you kind of start getting comfortable in that space of like, oh, I got it down. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to do my this. I'm going to do that. So you start kind of falling away from the discipline of prepping everything to kind of account for any mishaps along the way.
Yep.
How do you
Get
combat that?
Yeah.
Do you just
So, for me, I would ask, have you had a child? Because if you
Mm.
don't, right, the chaos. And I'm not saying this to you. I'm just saying this to anybody. in
Or
general.
anything, a new dog.
A new dog, something where you're thrown off, right? That becomes your
being
priority.
sick.
That becomes your priority. And the way I look at my stuff, CV likes to tell me I'm black and white, but I have to, maybe the water you don't have to do, but I have to put on gym clothes. I have to bring my work bag. I have to bring my lunch. I have to drink a cup of coffee before I leave the house. So I'm doing all these things anyway, right? So why would I extend that, leave it up in the air for chance, not my dog, but leave it up in the air for chance,
Shout out Chance.
right? To basically have to be holding Callie, because this happens too. If I don't prep my stuff, I'm holding Callie because she woke up, right? Not when she's supposed to wake up.
Yeah.
So she's now crying because like you can't put her down. Now I'm trying to pick my clothes out with a 2-year-old crying in my ear,
madness.
trying to make my coffee. Then you're like, F this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to the gym. I might call out sick from work. I'm not doing nothing today.
To your
Go
point,
ahead.
what helps me mentally, because this whole, like, I haven't slept for 6 months since we had the new baby, Juliana. Shout out Juliana. And I had such a routine down that when it got blown out of the water with the new baby and I was fighting it, the harder I fought, the less of a routine I was able to get in, because I was like, I'm still working at it for. And then the baby would wake up,
Yep.
Livy would wake up. I'd be with both of them, still trying to like sneak in a workout. So what I found that helped me was to have a plan B. That was like, if they both wake up, I have the flexibility to then work out at 8 when I drop them off at school. So like, what was super helpful was adjusting to make it more manageable and realistic within the new parameters.
So you basically make
I
two.
adjusted the routine. So
Right, you make
instead
two
of
options.
Instead of timing it and be like, all right, I get up at 4, I work out, which I was able to do today because both slept. When they don't sleep, then the conversation becomes, all right, well, then my work gets pushed to 8.
Mhm.
So don't fret over it. Just go upstairs, get them, and then start your routine back at 8 when you're. So it's
Right.
like the night before you can control because hopefully they're asleep. So you do what you can control. And if you get up and get dressed and all that stuff, I know now that I'm like, all right, well, I don't make appointments before 10 because I have my morning workout. Then now is a floater. So that helped mentally not get discouraged with myself.
Yeah.
Because it was hard, like weeks on end where I could not complete a workout because kids were waking up. And then I realized, I'm like, if I just worked out at like 8, I know at least I'll finish my workout.
Yep.
And then the days that, the weird days that like I had a bunch of work and whatnot, I just tried not to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
I tried to realize like, all right, well, it didn't go well today, but I still have somewhat of a routine. It's just not the same time every day anymore.
Mhm.
It's in the morning. So I was a little more flexible than I have in the past because I had to be.
Right.
So that's helped.
That's good. That's
because
very
then you
good.
don't get discouraged.
Yes, 100%. My, you know what's ironic though? I didn't even mention working out in my routine, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it takes so long.
For me, it's important now.
No. Well, I mean, I do it every day, right? It's,
you do? You work out?
It's part of my routine for sure. But to get there, my focus is on saving time, right? So what are the things that I can do the night before to save time? Because if I drop Callie off, she can get there the earliest is 7:00.
Yeah.
So if I have to pick out my clothes, I mean, that's 3 minutes, right? Because you're talking everything: your boxers, my wife beater, my socks, my polo, my trouser. Like that takes
You wear a lot of layers.
that takes a thought process, though,
Yeah.
right? Then your gym clothes, that's another 3 minutes. Then your lunch, that's another 3 minutes. Your coffee, like the 2 minutes here. It's just, it's a half hour. So I become obsessed with just knocking minutes off the night before.
So one of the things I started doing, this is like not a life hack or anything, but what has worked for me is I know that I got to drop Livy off at school certain days of the week. Every day is different now. One day both go to school. 2 days a week Dana's working from home. 2 days a week throughout the in-laws. So like every day is a little different, but now I'm kind of getting the cadence of it all. So I know like, all right, Monday I'm dropping both kids off. So there's no real nothing slowing me down after I drop them off to school to go back work out.
Yep.
So in that case, I got to make sure I make my pre-workout shake for the way to school, because then it'll be 30 minutes by the time I get home.
Oh, you got to hope you don't have to run to the bathroom. What happens?
Well, when you get home, just go to the bathroom quick.
No, not the way my stomach works. buddy.
Well, you're soft. You got a soft stomach. So like little stuff
Yes,
like that
that's
where
important.
you don't, in the beginning, it's like, damn, like I'm so out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize like, ooh, it'd be nice if I had the shake on the way, because then I don't have to make the shake when I get home. And then I go right into the workout.
Bingo.
And then it's like, all right, well, I should get dressed in my gym clothes to go drop them off because I know I'm going to work out, So little things, all right, well, I'm not going to make an appointment at 10 because it stresses me out. I can't get there on time. Let me do 10:30 now on certain days. So like my thing just in general with life in general is like if you can kind of adjust to the uncontrollable stuff with stuff that you can control, it alleviates a lot of the stress and discouragement. I was getting discouraged with myself. I'm like, I worked so hard to get to 10%. We just had a kid. Now I can't even see the gym. And the gym's in my house, and I can't even get to it, which is so frustrating.
Yeah.
So then even a level up, I'm like, when the really bad nights happen, I know at least I'll be in the living room. Let me just get some steps.
Yep.
Let me just hop around with, like, one of the kids,
Mm-hmm.
So, like, rather than punt, which I've done in the past a lot, it's been helpful for me to do something so that I feel at least like I'm not losing it all.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, very well said. I love it. Good. Hopefully that's a good enough answer. If
Yeah,
not,
it sucks.
sorry.
It's a terrible answer.
Sorry, guys. Got caught in the middle. All right, question number 2. Ooh, long one.
Dave probably wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I've been in such a funk lately. Could it be
this is
Dave?
pretty good.
I don't know. I've been in
Yeah,
such a
I don't
funk
get funky.
lately. I don't want to say it's an excuse, but my daughter just turned 3, and I've found this age to be the hardest yet.
Oh, Christ.
With a lack
Oh,
of sleep,
Jesus.
chaos of life, I've had so many negative thoughts lately that then lead me to not working out, having a short temper with my coworkers, and making some wrong decisions throughout my week. Any advice?
Wait, wrong decisions?
Some not strong. Some
Okay,
wrong decisions.
I'm trying to
throughout
understand
my
the
week.
question.
I'll say it again.
This might have been-
No, we got it.
You got it?
I
Yeah.
think I wrote this.
Did you write this? No, it's funny. I remember seeing this come in. One, that really sucks because our daughters are not 3 yet.
Yeah,
so
I don't like
I'm
that.
discouraged by this question.
Yup.
100%. So
Thanks for the spoiler.
yeah. That's atrocious. But then honestly, everything else sounds very normal. When you're a parent, right? The chaos of life, and you're not sleeping. And honestly, the not sleeping thing really causes some bad thoughts throughout the
100%.
throughout the day. I mean, you hallucinate almost.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, you're like, what do you do, right? And this, I think you got to go to a process here. The big process will talk to you right now.
Absolutely not.
100%. 3-stepper. Awareness, right? So a lot of us don't realize why these things are happening. So what exactly is triggering all of this? Get clear and confident in your head. And the answer is you have a 3-year-old, you're not sleeping. These are normal things, right? But when we leave it up in the air to say, oh, well, why do I feel this way? No, you feel this way, and it's very normal. And it's at times it's okay to not feel okay, for a lack of better word. So it's getting extremely aware of the actual circumstance that's going on, and then it's accepting it. That's the second part, right? You have to accept that, we all feel down at times. And today might be a good day, but then the next day very well might be a really bad day. You might string 2 good days together, and then you might string 4 days. You chose, unfortunately, to put yourself in this situation with kids and life, and we've all put ourselves in the situation that we're in, right? And then after you accept that situation, the last thing is to take the action on it, right? What is it that aligns you with the best version of what you can possibly be, right? What are those things? And then it's a conscious decision to say, you know what? I know what's going on because I'm aware of it. Now I've accepted it, but now I'm going to choose to do the things that I know are going to put me in a better place. I work out sometimes in the first 30 minutes of my workout, I am literally jumping rope and I'm like, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. People might not see that because I don't, necessarily post that part in my workout. But at some point, it turns over. There are times that I have shitty workouts. There are times that I can't get through my morning routine. But I still do it because I know eventually it's going to snap back, right? So it's awareness, acceptance, action.
All the A's, AAA.
There you go.
I was going to say identify the problem, which is lack of sleep.
Well,
which
that's
is going to be emotional. I think my instinct is telling me, and I'm not a doctor, But I think lack of sleep is one of the biggest like triggers for a lot of problems.
Yes.
Because then you're irritable, you're kind of less foggy, you're not as sharp, you don't want to work. Versus like sometimes it makes sense, which I got to give Dana credit. She's always been telling me this. Sometimes I think it makes sense to slow down and take a nap if you can. Like some of us, like me personally, had a what's a good word? Like a preconceived notion about like napping and I'll sleep when I'm dead. No snooze.
No snooze.
Stupid shit.
That's not what a no snooze means, man.
But then the conversation becomes, all right, well, is it good to be not productive for an hour and be all like fuzzy and whatnot, or sleep for an hour and then come back to it and rip it? So that's been a maturing moment for me to figure out is like, instead of trying to squeeze in the workout when you don't feel great, like would a quick nap get you to a better mental state at the very least?
Are you a napper?
I traditionally am not.
Right, but you can be.
You're forced to be.
Yes.
Yeah. So like,
Well, I guess you're saying that because of the kids.
so
right?
like
Yes.
when we had Olivia, she didn't sleep for like the first 8 months. So what I was figuring out with Dana, and we were kind of doing it together, is like, all right, well, we didn't sleep all night and I have a full day of work. So, all right, well, I have a gap between 12 and 4, whatever. And then I'm back at it showing houses. So I'm like, all right, let me take 1 hour to nap. And like, I can have a coffee once I wake up and get going again. So I had to do it by necessity. I think Dana loves naps. Like that's her thing.
Well, that's why I asked. Some people are naturally just nappers.
If you're
Like-
exhausted, you'll nap.
Yeah.
well,
exactly.
that's what when you said it, kind of.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, you're like forced to do it.
because I don't nap. I can't nap. It makes
Yeah.
me feel weird even when I wake
Mhm.
up. So
Yeah,
I can't,
sometimes
I
you
don't
feel
like,
groggy.
yeah, I don't like doing it. And to be honest, if I get a good night's sleep, I think that's a key. So if you're
100%.
not getting that, then
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
you know, I don't need the nap at all.
Yeah.
I'd rather just go the whole day. My energy kind of is pretty consistent. But you're right. If you're not getting any sleep at all and you need to, if you're tired, you're just gonna go. No.
But like my basic recommendation was like in the past I felt irritable, on edge, negative thoughts all have come from when I don't sleep.
Mhm.
Whenever something goes awry, it's like I can point to I had a rough night before. So then I made it a priority to get sleep. And then the other thing was eating. I realized that I was on edge, anxious when I didn't eat. So then I made that a priority as well. So like if I'm got a schedule ahead of me and I'm answering emails and phone calls, I put literally everything down and I make sure I eat. Because in the past I would work right through it. But then I'm realizing I'm doing a disservice to myself, all my clients, my day in general, because you're going to burn out if you don't eat all day and all you're going to be thinking about is, I'm starving.
Mhm.
Versus, yeah, maybe you don't send 2 more emails, but you ate your meal and now you're back,
Yeah. Good point. I think that's spot on because I think there's levels to the negativity in your
Oh.
life, right? And if
And
you're
it's-
at
it's-
a breaking point though, and you have kids, it's probably smart to like one day when you drop that child off, maybe take a sick day at work. And
100%.
you might need to really bounce back because they mentioned the lack of sleep, right? Like specifically, so you can't. It gets to a point you can't fight through that. So
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
And I was very arrogant and like, I don't need sleep,
Yeah.
like this and that. And I've even said it today and I'm like, I do really good on no sleep. And I'm realizing I was a little delusional.
Yeah.
I do better probably than most, but I don't do
but then
well.
it gets to a point, right?
Yeah.
The worst part of Hell Week in the Navy, they say is
It's a form of
when-
torture.
Well, yeah, they literally deprive your sleep. So they let you sleep for about like 40 minutes to an hour, and then they come banging on things. They do not allow you to sleep. Then they make you jump in a cold ocean. Then you go back to sleep, and it's for days on end.
Yeah. They should make parents
it's your
do
weakest
that.
point.
Parents should
yeah,
take a
right. We should
Navy
go through a
SEALs.
parent training.
Yeah.
We should parent SEAL
I'm
training.
100%
I could
serious.
start it up. No snooze parent cheer.
That's actually
Parent
hilarious.
SEAL training. And who
Instead
wants to
of
join?
a Lamaze class, or whatever
Yeah,
they call
yeah.
it, you do that.
Right. That's hilarious. Good stuff.
Okay. Question number 3. I saw a clip. Put my phone up here. I saw a clip of you guys posted. It was Dave talking about getting defensive, and it triggered a question I always ask myself: why do I take things so personal? I can't even tell you how much I relate to this question. Me.
That's part of the
personally.
question? Or-
No, that was me
that you
personally,
personally. Did you write this one?
yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry, CB. I thought about you right away.
Well, that's why I just said.
I know. Mike, you start this one.
I'm sensitive. Part of it is I assume that I'm getting criticized because you don't think I'm trying. So sometimes I'll take it to heart. I mean, it goes back to what I was just talking about. Like when I'm on edge, I haven't slept. I'm a little more defensive because I'm just in defense mode.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
I've had to work on getting criticism because a lot of the times I'm operating independently. So I have all this stuff that I point to that has worked. So when something doesn't work, I'm less likely to. I mean, I don't think I have a major problem with it, but certain stuff, you know, when people say, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. I have such an opinionated, stubborn view on things because you need to be that way with a lot of things. It's hard for me to bring my guard down.
Yes. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Very good. Yeah.
Very good. Yes. Very good.
Very good. Yes. I agree 100%. I think when it comes to taking things personally, it's definitely derived from insecurities of yourself, right? Now, I've seen levels to this because I have conversations with coworkers sometimes to where they've been bullied like in their life or they've been abused in their life. So they're taught to think a certain way.
Like defensively.
Right, because they've been told something. So that's a sad situation, right? But then also just us being insecure about like, I know for me, I get insecure when I feel like somebody's maybe questioning my character. You're questioning my ability to really be about this life. I'm constantly questioning what other people are thinking about, if that makes sense. I think when certain people say things and it hits a nerve because there's some level of truth within, that's when I personally get, most defensive. Now, you basically asked the question of why you get, that way. But what I want to answer to is to hopefully give you something to maybe help why you take things personally. And the first thing that I can think about is to eliminate the confusion of everything. Right? Like I used to get so caught up in the thought process. I've spoke about this multiple times on the podcast of what everybody thinks. Right? So now I eliminate the confusion. I'm like, half the people are not going to agree with you. Half the people might not like you, and that's okay. Right? So there's no confusion because I'm never going to please everybody. I used to want to be a people pleaser. Dave Regina lives a perfect lifestyle. Dave Regina does this, does that. I wanted everybody to think that. But that's not reality, right? So right off the bat, you have to eliminate the confusion. The other thing is what we talked about in the previous question about, the morning routine, but it's more gaining confidence. When you're a confident individual, you're less likely to take things personally. How do you
I would argue that. I would say more confident people take things more personally.
Not me. Because there's probably an aspect of your life that you may not be as confident in that might expose you. Right. But for me, when I have this confidence of I know that when I tell myself I'm going to do something and I do it, that's real confidence. Right. The fact that I'm going to use you as an example, you're a confident guy, but you're not that confident because when you said on the podcast that you were going to do this and this week you were going to do XYZ, you allowed all these other factors like we all do to manipulate your outcome. So I question, are you really a confident person, right? In your head, not just you specifically, but I'm just saying to everybody. Do you, because that's what I try to eliminate now, right? I try to put myself and my confidence almost above all. When I say I'm going to do it, I have to try to do it. And I know that life's not perfect and shit's going to, go south. But that's that when I talk about confidence, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And even at work, when I have situations where I'm not confident, that's when I start taking things personally because you're hitting a nerve because I didn't respond the right way. Right. And then the last thing I would say is like realizing the power that you have as an individual. I remember this lady at work. She came at me pretty hard. She got into me and I got real defensive. And you know what I did? I stared at her. Literally stared at her. And I was waiting to go off on her, right? Because that's what CV just said. You would expect me to go off, right? So I was trying to articulate my thought, and I just stared. And I made her so uncomfortable because it was an aggressive stare, which was not my intention, but I just was trying to formulate my own words.
Yeah.
And she said, say something, say something, say something.
Ooh.
Right? And I realized, like, I have some power here right now. So I ended up not saying anything. And I looked at her and I said, please excuse yourself from my office.
Said tomato.
Verbatim. So I said, please excuse yourself from my office. But in that moment, I realized, wait a minute, I have the power here because it happened to just be a coincidence. But I wanted to go off on you. But because I couldn't articulate my thought, I just stayed quiet. When I stayed quiet, that was a conscious choice now. Once I realized, wow, you have the power to make the choice.
Yeah.
You're going to go off. You're going to be quiet. You're going to respond positively. Now, when you have that power and you realize that that's in your space and nobody else's, now you become a little dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm trying to take more time in between negative confrontations to discuss things as I move forward.
Interesting.
Right? So it's 3, I guess, specific things. Eliminate the confusion, gain confidence in everything that you do, and then realize that you have some power.
I'm going to give you a philosophical angle here.
Yep.
You ready for this one?
A philosophical what?
Angle.
Oh, angle. I thought it was angle.
Verbatim. That's my favorite. I'm sorry. I'm going to use that tomato a lot. There's going to be a count going. It might make you a shirt. I've started, I think it was a Stoic who said it, but basically like the way that you receive things depends a lot on how you view it. So if you can view it as like being curious and trying to learn and be a student,
you're good at that.
A lot of things get a little easier to absorb. So what I'm trying to do, which is not easy, detach myself from my own personality and be able to look at my own personality and not get defensive or like judgmental about myself and just hear what people are saying and then ask why. So like me and Dana got into a couple arguments and I don't talk about a lot of personal stuff, but what I'm trying to do more with like my close family and friends is I find that I'm more defensive with them because they know me the best at anyone. Right. So when they call me out on something like you're saying, a lot of times it's rooted in truth and I misunderstand as like, I'm trying so hard, but you don't see how hard I'm working and you're nitpicking at this one thing, but I worked on 10 other things to get here.
I hate that too. Yeah.
But that's what everyone does because
Right.
everyone focuses on what they're working on and then the other people focus on what's the lack of or whatever.
But that right there, and one, you're extremely good at that.
I would say I'm extremely good at it.
I can say from the outside, you're good at that.
One of the things that I'm working on is my bandwidth to stay good at that because I'm finding if I'm drained, I'm not good at that.
Mhm.
But if I'm like good night's sleep, I'm in a good mood, I could do it all day.
Right.
You can talk shit to me in my face, tell me I'm the worst person. I just kind of laugh because I'm not in an elevated mood of like on edge. I've eaten, I'm relaxed. I'm not in hunting mode. So it's been something I'm trying to implement and I find myself going the other way and being defensive. And like when you negotiate with people on deals, sometimes you just get irritated and you go. But I find when you just keep asking questions and be more curious, things kind of fall into place because you're getting more info and the other people are talking through why they're thinking that way. So then you're actually able to give a solution if there is one to be better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. But you also gave a very good example of, I think, what I characterized as eliminating the confusion, because you said something along the lines of when, how'd you articulate it? But basically knowing that people are not going to realize all the good positive efforts that you're doing, then they're going to highlight the one little thing. That's you saying like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's, you're eliminating that confusion, that thought like, well, how is this person saying this to me? How is this person going to, take this? How am I going to respond? No, it's just like some things are going to be good and some things are going to be bad.
And I think detaching yourself from your own personality, like it sounds a little crazy, but like being able to look at yourself from a distance in everything, fitness, work, life, parenthood, all of it.
Text messaging,
big
for me.
What do you mean?
So you're saying the personality thing, right? Detaching from a personality. When I text, I say it, but I'm a pretty articulate texter unless I'm talking to you and I'm like, yo, or you're. But other than that, like I'm pretty, I don't know if it's abrupt, but I'm pretty factual with my text message. Like,
Kurt.
I'll be there at 3, thanks for the invite. Something like that,
Yeah.
When I receive a text message like that, I think to myself immediately, why is this person so mad at me?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that happens with text messaging
Yeah.
all the time. But it's hard though. It's go ahead.
So one of the things I'm implementing lately is I don't text or email as much. And if I do, it's usually predicated on a phone call or some type of conversation to shape the message.
Gotcha.
So like if I'm texting people all day about something going on, I say, all right, let's hop on the phone. Let me just give you the rundown. Because a lot of things can be misconstrued depending on how the other person's feeling, right?
Mhm.
Like if I'm feeling the type of way and someone texts me something, I might snap.
Yep.
Because I'm
Yep,
like, what? They're nervous at that.
Right.
When in reality, they're just busy. They're like, hey, da. So I'm trying to do less of like the stuff that I know can be misinterpreted. I'm trying to control what I can. And part of that is just getting on the phone with people and hearing their voice.
yes.
In person's the best, but if you hear someone in their tone, you know what's going on.
Right.
You can hear people worried through the phone. Like I was talking to someone the other day, I heard they were pissed off about something, not because of me, but I was able to kind of talk them off the ledge because I knew it was getting them. And I'm like, listen, I understand you're frustrated. It's another day. One more day. Just hold on for me. One more day. Crack a joke,
Yep.
alleviate a little pressure. We'll talk tomorrow. And then you just kind of, that's what you do. And it's hard to be upset if someone's very positive
Yeah.
and just trying to focus on the next step. So, I've been trying to minimize the input that's coming into me lately.
Mhm.
And part of it is, muting people on Instagram, muting certain things, doing, little things like not looking at the phone before a certain time. And it's getting more and more important as I get more and more aware of my personal defaults,
I like it. Yeah.
It's hard though when you're so introspective.
Tomato.
Is that what it means? Introspective. When you're so evaluating yourself constantly, sometimes you can be harsh on yourself, which I'm also trying not to do. Sometimes I'm hard on myself and I see a situation, I'm like, like when I snap at the kids and I know I shouldn't be snapping,
Yeah.
I get real mad at myself, which makes it worse
Yeah,
because
yeah.
then I'm open around and they're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I shouldn't have snapped. They're like, it's fine. It's
Right.
your parent.
Yeah.
Like you can snap. So it's a balance. You can't be
Yep.
too hard on yourself. You also can't be too monk-like. There's times we got to yell. So
Right.
I don't know what the solution is, but that's been helpful.
But that this is huge. Just even like talking through this and understanding your own way of how you are, right? Because I don't know if I had to throw a percentage of there, but like half of the people I know in my life, they're not even aware of any of these things. They don't want to take the time to even like want to change. So if you know that you're, a sensitive being, like all of us are in here, emotional beings as well, we just might have different outlets for it. That's always the best thing.
So one of
just
the
being aware of it.
good things is that having kids, starting my own company, it gives you a lot of time to notice your defaults because you have so much stress constantly that you can't keep doing the same stuff. So I'm constantly having to look and be like, all right, I can't survive this way. So what do I have to change? Whether
Right.
it's like managing stress, managing time, managing family life. So it's been a tough 2.5 years of COVID, family, businesses, but it's been I think I've matured and grown the most in these last couple of years, just being effing up constantly
Right.
because there's no like status quo to kind of lean back on.
Yep.
You're constantly retooling. So it's been tough,
Yeah.
but I do feel like there's growth. Like
Absolutely,
CV's saying,
there's
like,
growth.
even though maybe I've gained 20 pounds of my personality back, I'm still down like 35.
Right. Yep. Big change. I agree.
Is that right? Did I do the right math there?
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
All right.
Sensei.
Question number 4.
I got you.
I've had equipment for 5 months to start my podcast.
Talk to CV. Ask him what to buy.
I'm
we
a
don't know.
therapist.
No, they'll go broke with all this.
I'm a therapist and have actually already spoke to about 10 clients who would be willing to record their sessions, keeping them anonymous, obviously. For some reason, I'm scared to start, and I keep telling myself I'm too late to the game. Do you think that is the case?
That's interesting.
First of all, let me know the podcast because that's fire.
It's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Let's do it. No, I'm just kidding.
right. Yeah, if my therapist was able to air my stuff, oh my God, that would be a viral podcast.
I'd worry though that
Yeah,
people
of
could put the
course.
pieces together. No,
Yeah, I guess if you hear your voice, but they said they'd keep it.
no, but even if you don't, if you're
anonymous.
telling stories,
Oh,
and
it's
like,
anonymous? I thought it was anonymous.
but even if you're tomato, if you're telling stories, and I would know it's someone I know.
Yeah,
right? Or
yeah, I
no?
get it. so really the
Well,
question
you would have
though-
to like
Great
consider
concept, though.
It is
people,
great.
people in your circles would be actually listening to those things.
right.
When this would be like all over the place.
This would be yeah.
I think if you filter it right, you could pull it off. You
I
see the
think so.
documentary of Jonah Hill on Netflix?
No, not yet.
It's basically him and his therapist, because his therapist, I think,
That's
has
cool.
Parkinson's, and his therapist talks through these concepts of like processes and
Mhm.
how to get over depression, certain things like
Yeah.
tricks, and the way he does it is very like surface level, and it's not too personal. So if you
Yeah.
can do it that way, I think
Yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
good.
No, I think it'll work.
Right? I'd listen.
I absolutely think it'll work. But I guess the question really is you're fearful to start it. You've been sitting on it for 5 months, kind of like my building that I keep thinking about, but you're like not doing it, right? It's like that. And I would say put it in perspective, right? If you look at Instagram, there's over 2 billion users on Instagram. YouTube has, I think, somewhere around 50 million channels.
Pretty wild.
TikTok is in the billions for users as well. Podcasting is a completely different platform. It's long form content. When we started our podcast in 2020, there were only 750,000 podcasts around. In 2023, I was looking at some research because I like to know where we kind of stand. There's articles that say there's 3 million, and there's some articles that go as high as 4.5 million. But if you look at that number, it is so minuscule compared to the Instagrams, the TikToks, the YouTubes. So I believe that there is so much opportunity available in podcasting.
Yeah.
I think you just have to find that niche, audience. You're laughing. Is it niche? Is it niche? Niche?
Tomato, tomato.
Niche? Nosh? Whatever.
Nosh.
But the podcasting world is crazy. There's a wild statistic that if you you know what? I actually screenshotted it the other day. Let me not speak out of context. Go ahead, Mike. What do you
I'll
got?
jump in while you're doing that. My question to you would be, why are you doing the podcast? Because
Right.
it's not only just for being exposed on YouTube and doing all that stuff. Like, I'm sure professionally it would be productive, right?
Yes,
I also
absolutely.
think that you're not going to be putting out a full session. I mean, I don't know what this person is
even
doing,
if you get a good
but I
clip.
would assume that it would be extremely heavily redacted to the point where, like,
Good word, CV. Redacted.
where you're just kind of showing it for learning purposes.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll probably identify as you're recording everything.
Oh, yeah.
You find like that this is a common problem. So you highlight out of that recording, you clip that off, and you use it
Like
in
a
your
reoccurring.
podcast as a kind of like, hey, this is a learning opportunity. Do you really need to go deep into the knowing, all the other things
Yeah.
that maybe are too personal? Maybe that not even be that worth it. Maybe it's just like I said, the redacted portion
That's
of
genius.
it. You know?
Yeah, that is.
That's a
very
good
genius.
point. So CV is basically saying it's like watching game film for the therapist.
Yeah,
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, you're not
100%.
watching some of the boring stuff. You're watching like the play that allowed the touchdown
Right.
to happen.
But then you're right. You're like acknowledging the patterns, because you're like, oh, usually when people are feeling this way, this is the connection.
Right.
And then you're able to identify. That's
That is genius.
an interesting
Yeah.
point. And then you can
Um,
loop all the clips together, and then it's a theme. This guy, I tell you, who's this guy?
You give. I think we need some royalties on
You wanna
this. On this
swap?
person. Look at this. So, just to motivate you even further to start this little podcast of yours, we want royalties on this. But if your new episode, and this is from the podcasthost.com where I'm getting these stats, if your episode within 7 days of its release gets more than 30 downloads, only 30 downloads, you're in the top 50% of podcasts.
God, I love stats like that. That's
More
great.
than 100 downloads, you're in the top 25% of downloads. I mean, of podcasts.
What about views? Does that count? As a
No,
download?
this is just on platforms that you're listening. More than 400 downloads, then you're in the top 10. Forget thinking about even 400 downloads. More than 100 downloads puts you in the top 25% of those podcasts.
And I would argue if 0 people listened, the amount of self-reflection we're talking about
Correct.
and just progress of talking through and being recorded and the
Yep.
skill set of talking on a microphone and getting yelled at for breathing into it, thank you, CV, has been very productive and translates to other
Yes,
things
100%.
that you don't know it's going to pop up.
Right.
I don't think there's a downside to it unless I wouldn't sink too much money into the equipment, right, CV?
They have the equipment.
Oh, they have
I
it already.
think.
They said.
They said
oh.
I have the equipment for 5 months.
Oh, well then do it. 'Cause you already
Right,
paid-
right.
spent the
At
money.
this point, it's a no lose for them because
Right.
they have everything. You
Just
just have
do
to
it.
hit record, and even you don't even have to put it out. You can just
Yeah.
record for a while
And
until
see how
you
it
feel
goes.
comfortable to see
That's-
if that's what you want to put out or not.
That'd be my approach right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would record. You know how I am. I'd record it, think I perfect it, and then put out something once I think it's good.
fair.
Mike would be like, just air it out, put it
Well,
out.
then you got to go back to our episode. I don't know, 12,
Yeah,
where progress, not perfection. Right?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
There you go.
That's an after fact, you know.
Good. No, that's awesome. Good luck to you. And give us that
Need a
royalty.
good name. Sessions.
Okay. Question number. Oh, this.
This is the last one.
This is a good.
Oh, this is
question.
hilarious. This
By the
one-
way, I don't know if you noticed before, you were talking and I started giggling, and it's because
Oh,
I
that's what-
happened to look further down to the last
Oh,
question.
did you send him the question?
Well, this
That's
this
how I read
yeah
them.
yeah. This one was on it was on one of your
Oh, Jesus.
workouts. It was just a comment.
I played
Go
the
ahead.
Are we ready?
It's pretty fun.
Question number 5. I want to see the surprise.
Is it about front
Yeah,
squats?
put it on my
Yes.
pretty much. Well,
I'm gonna
those
guess what it
suck.
is.
I'm not gonna lie. You
Question
were-
number 5.
I got
Are
a
we
lot
ready?
of slack.
Question number 5.
Yes.
I think I have smaller calves than Mike,
Impossible.
but if I'm being honest, I don't train them. How often should I be working on them?
That's a great question, Mike. Listen, I'm not here to answer that, but I'm listening. You know when people say I'm here for the answer?
Right,
It's
right,
me.
right. Oh man, no. So that was so funny, but it came in after your little, you were doing your little front squats or something.
Oh, so bad.
It was
It's
very, very
hard.
funny.
You ever do a
know
front
it-
squat?
yeah, I do. Front
I didn't know you're
squats.
supposed
Nice.
to do it like that.
You're supposed to lay it on.
I didn't know that.
I don't know why you're holding it like that.
Friggin' AC's video he sent me, the person's holding it with their elbows.
Well, you're supposed to.
I'm
hold
hurting my
it.
shoulders.
Yeah, no. You're supposed to hold it on your
That's
clavicle.
Not, that's
yeah.
not what AC told me, so I was doing it his way.
I don't know, AC.
He's gonna get mad at me. He's like, I did not tell
I
you
did
to do
not
it
tell
that
you to
way.
do that.
I don't know if he did actually.
I mean, are we really answering this question? Yeah,
100%. I wanted to go on my goddamn calves.
right? So honestly, I think
before
calves,
you answer,
Yeah.
do you actually work out your calves?
yes,
Oh,
Do you know? Do you understand the correlation though?
yeah, 100%.
Guess who else has small calves?
Frank.
No,
Oh.
Frank had big calves.
Oh,
Frank
did
could
he?
jump. Who in not a famous guy? Who's a famous guy that famously had small calves and worked on them? Arnold. Arnold had terrible calves.
But they weren't that small, dude. Not
At some
that
point, they
small.
were that small.
They weren't that small.
I have calf
They were
goals.
not
I
that
have calf
small. I'm
goals.
pointing at Mike's leg.
have
They're
calf
not
by the
that
way,
small.
notice how he's pushing it on his
Yeah,
knee,
yeah.
so it'll
So it looks
See
bigger.
that? Look.
Yeah, no. So I definitely train my calves. I told you I started this though in 10th grade. Really, when I wanted to, I had a goal of wanting to dunk. The
Are they
basketball.
implants?
Yeah, I wish. Where I wanted to dunk the basketball. So ever since then, when I correlated the jumping ability to the calf work and the leg work, that's when I, took it pretty seriously. But I think a good general rule of thumb is to train them like you train your abs, right? Because if you're training your abs, I guess normal would be 3 to 4 times a week.
You mean like eating a lot? Like
No. Like doing your crunches and
That
stuff
was
like
good.
that, right? Like
You.
doing your crunches, whatever Russian twist you're doing. Maybe, Mike's like, what's
Who?
that? What's
I do
that?
Italian twists.
I
right in my mouth.
I would. A good rule of thumb is to like put it at the end of your workouts because you really don't need much.
See, put
to-
it in the front. Let's beef these up when you got.
You don't need much to stimulate calf growth.
Apparently, you do.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I walk on my goddamn toes and I have no calves.
But
How's that
it's,
possible?
It's weighted too, and this is a big misconception, right? A
Mm.
lot of people they sit there and they just do crunches, right? But your abs will get so much better if you actually add weighted exercise to the ab workouts.
Yep.
And it's the same for calves, right? You jumping rope is great. Like I do it more for cardio work for jump rope. Yes, it hits my calves, but I've already put a lot of weight on my calves, right? I've done the little calf
What's
machine.
your favorite calf workout?
Honestly, the calf machine
If you
that
don't
allows
have
you to
one,
go
just
on both
shoulder
sides.
and then.
Yeah, but you should get on a box so you can go on the negative too.
Well, I put the
Because if you're
circle
doing
weights.
it, yes, that's perfect.
And
So
then
if
I
you're
put-
just doing it on a flat floor, you're only going up.
How wide should my
Right?
feet be?
You could switch that up.
Like
you
shoulder
you should go
in, out.
Yep. I mean, a great exercise is doing 30, right? Where you do 10 neutral, 10 in, 10 out,
Mhm.
and do that 3 to 4 times a week for, you could do like 5
How much
sets.
weight you think?
You could do 5 sets.
185 on the
yeah,
shoulders.
Yeah, 185 is good. 225 is good.
Keep going up. Donuts.
Yes,
Just
correct.
unbelievably
and then keep
strong on the
adding it.
calves.
But also with calves, just like abs, for me, you got to get rid of the, it's winter season. I'm not going to do it. Why am I'm wearing a hoodie? No, because that's when you really need to do
Yeah.
it. And calves are so easy to skip. So easy to skip.
Can I paint a picture for you?
Yeah, yeah.
Short shorts,
Your time, by the way.
like one of these MMA guys.
Yeah.
I know this. I'm going to bring this home here. Short shorts, MMA guys. Legs, some depth. Some definition there. Then we're going down the leg, and you're like, oh, wow, like it's decent legs, like they're a little low. And then you get down to the calves, you're like, wow, this kid must play soccer. He must walk
Yep.
with weight on his back. He
1.1
must walk on
on
his
a
toes
treadmill.
every day. He must have got bullied about how small his calves were and went the other way.
Yeah.
That's the kind of calf I want.
That's the kind of calf you want.
And it doesn't need to be too big. Like yours are big. You got big calves.
No, not too big.
Dave,
though.
your calves are big.
I don't think they're too big. You see when I do
Pretty
pull-ups?
big.
I do it on purpose.
You
Do
look
little
like you're a
flexion.
big boy that got like thin.
Well, the pull-up
and the
bar
other
is
thing-
perfect because for me to
the
get
angle
on
with the
it,
calves.
no,
Yeah.
for me to get on it,
No,
I
it
have
is.
to. I have to physically get on my calves because then I can reach it.
Get
but
on
if I'm
your
not on my
calves.
calves,
You can't just like jump up quick and not show
No,
off
I have to
calves.
show the calf, bro.
I know.
You gotta pause. But yeah, you got to train them, and I think the biggest misconception there is like they're very easy to skip. So put it into your routine. The end of your workout, 3 to 4 times a week. Even if they're sore, you can train your calves. So it's not like every other muscle, unless you're feeling like it's gonna pull or something. Don't train that.
I'm actually.
This is not medical advice. This is not from a doctor.
I'm
My
actually
initials are
flexing
DR,
right
but
now.
that's not doctor. What?
I'm flexing right now.
There you go. Yeah, no dime this week because these are all dimes right here, CV.
That's a good dime. The calf dime is my favorite dime. Great
That-
question. I
best
want
question.
more questions like that. Like, how do I grow my calves? Like, that's a good one.
Very relatable, huh?
How do you even measure? You do a tape? How are we going to measure this? How am I going to measure my growth?
take pictures?
Just visual?
Honestly, so people think
You can't
think
get this on
I
photo.
like to take pictures to look at myself, right?
Dave.
No, think about this.
Dave.
For me,
Don't.
this is for me.
Dave.
He likes to take pictures so other people can look at him.
Well, but again, this is what people think, and I appreciate the thoughts. It's okay. It's welcome.
Give this to me.
But for me, I literally go back month to month, and I take one picture because I take a picture every day. Every day.
We know.
Yeah. And I do post it. Because
Yeah,
one,
it's nice.
it's just accountability for me. You
look
know, I
cute,
was in
yeah.
there, no problem. But for me, I actually go back and I look and I see, like, all right,
Progress.
is there progress? Is there progress? You know, and some months there's not progress, and it looks like some months I'm like, damn, would you lose?
So what
here?
are we working on this year, progress-wise? Because I'm going calves this year.
Yeah,
You're the
calves.
calf.
I mean,
what do you think?
I don't really have. We've discussed this a million times.
We do discuss them, though, but I want to hear
Yeah,
answers.
no, I mean, I'm not. I don't have any specific fitness goal.
What's your
mind.
favorite body part that you like?
Chest? But I mean, I hit the
Okay.
400. Like, what do you want?
No,
me
I
to
know, but visually, like, sculpt it up a little bit.
do? No,
What are you
abs.
thinking?
Abs. I like that.
Okay,
I like
see,
that.
that's what I'm
Abs.
talking about.
Abs
See?
and calves.
You gotta,
Yeah,
CV. You
Abs and calves.
gotta dig
Yep.
with this guy because he's Terminator. Calves,
yeah. Terminator.
calves and abs.
Calves and abs.
We're like a
That's right.
show. Calves
Okay.
and abs. And then CV, what are we working on this year? Body part, hands. What do you want? Toes.
Feet. Feet
Okay.
work. Feet work.
All right, I like it.
Footwork. Feet work.
Sometimes it's fun to focus.
Fuck.
Sometimes it's fun to prioritize something as like, focusing in one area.
Yes.
Sometimes you focus on too much, can't get it all done.
Yeah.
So even body part to prioritize the calves in the beginning of the workout to give it a lot of energy.
Mhm.
It's just a good mental thing to like get into the routine. no?
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
Like abs, you'll probably start your routine.
Well, now
do
I
a
have
little
to.
extra.
Yes. Now I have to because, but I've noticed like I do a lot of exercises without weight, and it gets so easy, and you could literally do 50 crunches and not feel anything.
See, you're unique. That's not a common. I'm here on this podcast. I figured it out to bring you down to like the average man because that's an absurd comment. You're just like, 50 crunches. Like that's an absurd comment.
Bro, I'll do them right now after we're done here.
It's an
just so you can
insulting
see.
comment.
No, but I'm serious. And I know it's in there. Like I feel I have a hard core. But then when I lift my shirt, it's like bloop, bloop,
Well, you got too much fat.
bloop, bloop.
You know that, right?
Yeah,
That's the rule. You
exactly.
told me that. You
I
gotta
know,
lose
I
fat.
know. I know.
And you
I gotta
can't target it.
cover it up with the minks. Michael, let them know where to shop, my brother.
NoSnoozeshop.com. We're releasing short shorts this year. No,
Oh.
we're not, I don't know. but
We're actually going to do calf bands.
it's going to be crop tops and short shorts. So you can show
Yes,
your abs.
I can
and
show
your
my
calves.
abs and then you show your calves. I like that. Guys, thank you for submitting these questions. As always, you can put them into our Instagram page at No Snooze Podcast, or you can send them in to, what's our email address? No Snooze Podcast at gmail.com. All these funky emails that are coming in
Oh,
to
terrible.
join your, platform of influencers. Can you stop?
Yeah, we're not influencers.
We're not influencers,
We just
man.
do this for fun.
Right. It's absurd though, the nonsense that comes in. But yeah, if you have a real business inquiry, reach out. Other
Shout
than that, have a phenomenal week. We're getting close to summertime already. This
I
is
know.
crazy.
It's getting me
almost
nervous.
Mar-
I
it's
got work
March.
to do.
It's March Madness.
All I can say is if these kids start sleeping Everyone's on notice.
It's all-
Daddy's going to be tight and right.
That's right.
And guess who's? I'm Daddy.
Oh,
Okay? I'm just specifying. I'm
that's
not
true.
saying you.
No, I go by Zaddy.
Zaddy with a Z.
Zaddy. Yeah, yeah.
I think I'll save it. I'll
Here we
save
go.
it. I'll save it.
I'll save it.
I'll save it.
Yeah.
Yeah, little Louie, they call me.
Why? Lou Ferrigno. You're terrible.
He's the
So
best.
Lou Ferrigno, if you didn't know, he's a little special though. And
No,
he
he's not
grunts,
special.
and he grunts a little
That's
bit.
not
He's like,
true.
make it harder, Dad. Make it harder,
He had
Dad.
a hearing issue. Not that he's special.
All right, we gotta get out of here. Listen, until next time,
we cut that.
stop snoozing
Get up and get after it. Work those cats.
and be Lou Ferrigno. Yeah, make it hard, Dad. Make it hard.
That's another Effie in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze.